So I have to hand it to The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses episode 1. For as wholesome and sweet as this kind of will they won't they little adorable school love story is, it only took one episode for the main female love interest, Mie, to more or less call the main male love interest, Komra, daddy. And well, she may not have said daddy specifically. I mean, the fact that she was blind as a bat, thought it was her dad, and she was snuggling up, I mean, honestly, for a boy who was as flustered as he was throughout the entirety of this first episode, I think that was a little too much for him to handle, and honestly, had the teacher not smacked him upside the head, I think our boy would have nutted off to space. Now, this first episode, I've been cautiously worried about. The reason is I'm not a fan of GoHands, which is the studio that is producing this. I don't like anything they've done, like, period. I just don't like their works. And granted, since this wasn't an action anime, they had more potential not to go crazy with their camera angles, but the trailer for this one, I mean, this shot right here is a great indication. Now, static shot doesn't look too bad, but they have a habit of going fishbowl, ankle shots, and just, it kind of feels like GoHands would benefit from less is more. But I will say, there's only a couple of small moments while watching this entire first episode that I was like, damn it, GoHands, who let you cook? Because for the most part, I love this first episode. I think the art style works very well. I think because the girl has such ridiculously luscious hair, that GoHands can just focus on animating all the hair strands more than a crazy camera angle that makes no sense. So honestly, I'm pretty much here for this show. I will say, like, if you're interested in a very sweet, adorable romance this season that really isn't trying to go the route of the whole will they, won't they stretch it out and then you just pull your hair out because nothing's progressing. Rather, it's one of those shows where it's so absurd with its very simplistic comedy charm about a girl who continues to forget her glasses, steps on her glasses, and just is a bit of a klutz, a bit of an airhead, and you have these kind of adorable, if not funny situations when it's just, it's innocent. It really is. Like, yeah, when she gets up close and personal, her lips will probably set him off, or when he's tying her shoe, the thighs are going to make him a little flustered, but there's nothing really harmful or edgy about it. It's just a very cute, adorable show that, yeah, I highly recommend. Now, full live reaction episode 1 is available on my Patreon if you would like to see my full uncut thoughts as I watch this episode. And like I said, I'm not a GoHands fan, but I like to try because I'm always rooting for them to finally crack something that I feel like is for me, and I think this one can be it. The first couple of minutes of this episode, they definitely go hard with the camera angles. Some people will love it. I mean, GoHands does have a fan base. I've seen it in the West. I've seen it even on Japanese Twitter and stuff. Like, there are people who like their production style. I'm just not the person that they're targeting, clearly. But I like the fact that after the first few minutes of them just going absolutely wild, spinning camera, I mean, the best way to explain it is half the time their camera angles give me motion sickness. But because this isn't an action anime, there's a lot of times where characters are sitting at their desks, or, you know, they're moving, but they're not going as hard with the camera angles, which lets it calm down, because they do have a very consistent art style. One thing I can always give credit to GoHands production is even when I don't really like their shows visually, I can admit they have one of the more consistent character model consistencies, because you look at the start of this episode to the end, this show is very consistent. The character models don't dip, and the shots that are like extra animated, they go into these smaller details. Like, there's a moment when she's trying to figure out her shoes because she doesn't know which one of the cubbies is hers, and she ends up wearing our boy's shoes. And there's this very simple moment where, like, the way the shoes, she kind of like moves her shoe and then it bends. They don't need to go hard into the animation, but those like little finer moments that most studios overlook because they just don't have the time or resources to polish simple moments where, like, oh, the character or the way the leather on the shoe bends. But they do that. There's moments where her hair strands, like, they're going and it feels like realistic hair. Like, think of video game cutscenes where you're like, damn, man, like, how the hell did they make the hair look that realistic? Like, that's kind of like the same vibe sometimes Mie's hair will look. And honestly, it's the little things that can make a show visually pop, and I have to hand it to GoHands. More often than not this episode, I was like, damn, you guys are doing really well, I have to admit. And I like the fact that it has that kind of innocent vibe. It's very simple. He has like this big crush on a girl who doesn't even recognize him if her glasses aren't on, doesn't even recognize his voice. But the whole idea that you just have this very sweet, innocent story where, you know, like, you do get these types of shows every season, but I find they're not usually that interesting or that charming or fun. But a show like this where he's just like so head over heels for a girl who's probably more work than she's worth, but bless the boy for sticking to it. I mean, he's covering for her ass when she's just passed straight out saying, oh, that's just how she reads. I mean, the teacher at one point walks over, looks at her, eyes are closed. She's like, yeah, sure, okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's funny, it's goofy. I think the dodgeball portion was probably my favorite, like, little gag in the episode. It's very simple and short and sweet to the point, but she can't differentiate between friend or foe, and then he immediately is like, I'll guard you, and then just like, they don't even go extreme, they just casually toss a ball and he's eliminated. I'm like, bro, you are gonna get into so much havoc just because this girl can't remember her glasses. You know how some people have the glasses like with like the little strand wrapped around their neck so that they can carry it and like put it on? She needs that, like super glue, staple, necklace glasses, or keep contacts in your bag, because this girl be forgetting her glasses every damn day, and I don't know how the hell she doesn't have backup pairs or something, because I don't know, man. Because like when she says that she broke her glasses, I was like, how do you do that? Like, even if you're blind as a bat, glasses come in a carrying case. Are you telling me you're not putting it in the case when you're not using them? Like, of course you're gonna end up breaking it. As someone who's been wearing glasses for many of years, I've never broken a pair of glasses. Like, it's just, this girl is very dense, she's very clueless, but she has this innocent vibe that is hard not to love and just root for the two of them and the chaos that's gonna pop up with them. There's not a lot of shows that are airing on Tuesdays for me personally that I'm interested in, so I was really hoping that this would be one of them that would pop up, because other than Helk that's going to be starting up next week, there isn't really anything on Tuesday I care about, so I was crossing my fingers. Like, I always try to go in with an open mind, right? Because even if something I am worried about, I want to see what they deliver, and overall, there's a couple of little moments that I was not a fan of visually, but the actual content and a majority of the production style, I like the VAs, I like the dynamic and atmosphere. It leaves me saying I'm very excited for episode 2. And walking into episode 1 of The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses, I was worried. So leaving this episode being excited and just jumping for joy at the thought of watching more of these fun, goofy antics, that's how you know they hooked me in properly. And I think anyone who may have had issues with previous Gohan's works, I mean, I've seen it a lot, people saying they have motion sickness sometimes watching their works. Hell, it's happened to me on some of their action series. This show, it's a lot more tame with the production, and it just feels like a much more consistent art style overall. And because it's not going to be an action-oriented show, I mean, it's probably going to be one of the more consistent shows across the board this season. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. I think it's cute. I think it's adorable. I mean, I got to hand it to it. Only one episode before the girl you like calls you daddy. I mean, you got to be doing something right, boy. And I'm excited to see more of the cute antics and the flirtatious flusterness develop over the course of the season. And I'm excited for more. But hey, those are just my feelings, what everyone thought, whether if you're a fan of the manga or if you're a fan or dislike Gohans. Let me know what you thought of episode 1, and are you going to be keeping on with this one, and would you like to see more videos on this in the future? Let me know down below in the comment section. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. And like I mentioned, we do have a full live reaction to this episode, and I'll have full live reactions to all the future episodes as long as I watch this show, available on my Patreon if you're interested. And while you're there, you can also get a video shout out. So today we have Flare, Void, Creighton, and Powell Grezilk. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.